Astronomicon 2, do me a favor, make some noise. We are here, we are halfway through day 2 of the second annual Astronomicon. Energy is high, celebs are having a good time, and it seems like all of you are as well. If we want to turn down that music for a second, our next guest to the dais already, from the highly anticipated conclusion to the Firefly trilogy, I bring to you from the movie 3 from Hell, Otis Driftwood and Captain Spaulding, Bill Mosely and Sid Haig. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. Sit down wherever you would like.
Hello, hello. Hey, all right. Hey, everybody.
What's up? Holy shit.
Fucking
Shit's dangerous here.
Yeah, it's fucked up. There we are. Yeah, it's like a question mark now. All right. Whoa, fuck. All right. Hello, Michigan. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Come on. Yeah, come on.
It seems like people are here. Obviously, this is a highly anticipated project. This was a highly anticipated panel. Gentlemen, before we get started on anything else, this movie, 3 from Hell, has been so anticipated. Several media outlets jumped the gun earlier last week on announcing its imminent release. Is there anything you can tell the folks here in this panel room about the movie, release date, whether it's in black and white or color, anything at all?
2019.
They would kill my children if I gave you the date.
Yeah, that's right.
October 31st.
Yeah. Being a dad, killing children. Well, no. It is coming out. It's coming out in theaters. It's coming out because it's Lionsgate, so it's being distributed theatrically, so it's no VOD stuff. And it's coming out in 2019. And I just read, probably like most of you did, that Rob is nearing completion of post-production. And I don't know what that means. It means, I guess, that he's almost finished actually with the movie and is going to deliver it, and then it has to go to the distributors and they have to schedule it and all that other stuff. So it's coming and it's going to be fucking good.
So you guys wrapped up principal cinematography last fall, is that correct?
Last spring.
Last spring, so it's really been that long. So you guys might not even remember many of the
You
specifics.
can have a baby in less time than it takes to make a movie.
Yeah. And that includes the fucking.
Yeah.
Well, some of the things
Dating,
some of the things we do know that have been leaked through the media pop line is that this one is described as chock-a-block full of gratuitous violence, which we know everybody in this room loves. I believe that quote could be attributed to you, Mr. Mosely. Of that chock-a-block gratuitous violence, how much of it is delivered by Otis, and how much is kind of share the wealth?
We'll see. With Rob, we all signed a non-disclosure agreement. And, knowing Rob, I would not want to broach a non-disclosure agreement, because if I did, even in this room, I could just see this like a laser coming down and, cutting through my carotid artery. Yeah. So I don't mess with that. Yeah. It's going to be good, though.
Yep. You're gonna love it.
Well, then I'll shift away from movie specifics and maybe some more overall general artistic questions. House of a Thousand Corpses, 2003. 2 years later, The Devil's Rejects. We are now entering year 14. What was it like stepping back into those roles after nearly a decade and a half?
Yeah, my joints ached. Oh, I'm the devil. I'm here to do the devil's work.
I remember back in the day.
Now we really do shit the bed.
Fun to say, bad to do.
Yeah, right.
Well, you guys through all this time have continued to work with Rob in various forms on various projects, so I'm sure it's like a family type relationship whenever you guys re-enter that Firefly den. But as far as those specific characters, did you have to go back and maybe rewatch some film footage, maybe get back into the Otis mind frame, or is this something that you're carrying under the surface all the time that we should be afraid of?
Well, yeah, that's for sure.
I'm always Captain Spaulding.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up.
I did have, when we were starting to shoot, I did have a moment where I had some lines to deliver and it just wasn't happening. You know, I was kind of stumbling on the lines, did a couple takes of that. I'm like, I'm blathering. And Rob was kind of looking at me like, you know, dude, and I said, give me a second here, and I sat down. I just you know, kind of got quiet, and this voice in my head said, get out of the way and just let Otis do this. And you know, there went the insecure actor, like, is that my good side? You know, and Otis just said, you know, shut the fuck up, sit down, I got this. And for the rest of the time we shot, I was good. Everything was cool. Just get out of the way. That's basically it. You know, you don't really have to. I don't know how, you know, every actor has a different process, but for me, I didn't go back and watch a bunch of stuff. You know, because, you know, as Sid says,
You start imitating yourself.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
he's in there. Spaulding is in there.
Well, those are definitely some beloved characters, as I can see by the assembled people in this room. Do I got any questions?
Oh, and
from the
Chop
audience
Top's
real
in
quick?
there too, by the way. So, Dog will hunt.
We got a question right over here. No specifics, please, or Rob will kill you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, kill him.
I know you guys can't say much, but how do you beat a badass ending like Devil's Rejects?
You'll see.
How do you I think everybody in this room can agree that was badass. How do you top that ending?
We're getting back to the non-disclosure again.
Exactly.
Any other questions that aren't trying to get somebody killed in this room? Anybody? Can I get a hand somewhere? Anywhere? Oh, we got one up
Yeah,
there.
we got some up
We got
front.
two up there. Of course, I should have been in the front.
Hey, were you guys surprised that there was a part 3 coming?
The question was they surprised that there was a part 3 coming?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I thought we were dead. Because doing conventions like we do, people would come up and say, you know, is there going to be a part 3? And I would look at Bill and say, Bill, is there going to be a part 3? And he goes, no.
Nope.
And I said, why?
Because we're fucking dead.
Yeah.
That is certainly a good reason. So it was mostly surprise on your face when you got this call from Rob saying, look, I've got the next one.
Yeah.
I
We
think
had
that's
lunch
fair to say.
together.
Yeah.
And he, you know, got us together and said, okay, we're on for number 3. And, all right, cool, let's do it. Yeah,
And it was a vegan lunch.
it was a vegan lunch.
That's right. Remember that? It was
Yeah.
like a vegan place.
So the fate of the Fireflies was sealed over some tofu and some nice greenery? Is that what you're,
Yeah.
is that what you're telling us?
Some like cheese that actually is made from nuts.
I don't understand any of that shit.
I thought I saw another hand over here.
Yeah, we don't have that in
Did somebody have
Illinois.
their hand up over here?
Yeah.
I was wondering, is there one out of the 3 that you guys like filming more specifically, or one that was like more grueling and harder to do?
Each one had its own elements to it that made me like it for one reason or another. I don't put one ahead of the other. It's just, I had fun doing 3 films.
And, actually the Devil's Rejects was a little easier. We were just talking about in the House of a Thousand Corpses, I had to wear contact lenses because I'm an albino in that one. Somehow I got unalbinoed for part 2.
And how the fuck does that happen?
I don't know.
Donkey kicks you, you go cross-eyed. Donkey kicks you again, you go
tanning bed, I guess. I don't know what the fuck it was. But anyway, so that was easier on the eyes. I remember it's a Super Bowl, I think, of 2004, maybe 2005, whatever it was. And I was over at Rob's house in Los Angeles. We were watching the Super Bowl, and he said, we're going to do the Devil's Rejects. And I said, wow, hey, woo. And he said, but in this one, you're going to look a little different. He said, first of all, I want you to grow a beard. And I had never grown a beard before. So I said, well, fuck, I've never grown a beard before. I mean, what do you do? And he goes, stop shaving.
When they go for the obvious, right?
And then this beard, I didn't know that beard, that Otis beard was in my chin this whole time. And out came this beard, and that was cool. And it was, actually it was a lot of fun because Sid and I had a lot more screen time together.
Yeah.
In House of a Thousand Corpses, we see Captain Spaulding at the beginning and the end, but we didn't have a lot of time between. And
it was just the last scene when I picked up the girl.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were in the back seat.
Yeah, that's right.
the only time we worked together.
Yeah, that's right. Spoiler alert. So it was a lot of fun working with Sid. We really had a ball.
Yeah, we had a good time all the time.
Yeah. And especially like I just remember, feeling that family affection, especially when Sheriff Wydell was beating the shit out of Captain Spaulding in the burning house. He's like, hitting him with a cattle prod or something. I was going, yeah, that poor guy.
But I'm tough.
He is. He can take a licking and keep on ticking there. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But we had a lot of fun doing that. So that's a big plus for Devil's Rejects. Let's take a poll, a very impromptu one. Who prefers House of a Thousand Corpses to Devil's Rejects? Okay. And who's a Devil's Rejects person? Yeah, see, it's pretty fucking 50-50, which is very cool. I love that because they're two completely different movies.
That's what I was going to ask you about. They are two completely different films. The first one can be described as almost like a House of Horrors type of genre movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
With, Devil's Rejects being more of almost a road crime picture.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to get you killed, but if you had to describe what type of movie Three from Hell may be, would it fit into either one of those constructs? Or is this something that we've never seen as part of this particular story?
Aim the laser at him.
Now, aim the laser at me. It's all right.
Yeah, no.
You'll
see.
Shit.
That's it. I'm sorry.
I don't do well in court.
Yeah, right.
Well, from some of the pictures we saw, that in itself might have just gotten you killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there have been some photos from the set leaked, obviously, things we have seen, some new characters we have seen. One, Mr. Baggy Britches seems to have a family resemblance to somebody sitting up here on the dais, and I'm not trying to get into specifics once again, but maybe, is there another clown in this movie? I'm doing terrible, people. Somebody save me. Who's got a question?
I got a big enough voice. So this is going to be something totally not about the movie, but about you guys personally. You guys, since we're all sitting here admiring you and all your crazy glory, so if you guys could be in front of any channel that you would want to be in front of, and actors that you would really want to see, who would they be? And also, what do you guys do to unwind? I know, Sid, I know you have a pet snake, and it's good to see that you're safe from those fires in California. And I know you like literature. I know you like Moby Dick is one of your favorite books, and I sound like a stalker. What do you guys do?
Yeah, I'm a Scorpio. My favorite color is blue. I've given up chewing gum for 2019.
Sorry.
Right, that for you.
So what is the question? Like, if we
We're all
were...
sitting here admiring you. If you guys could be sitting and listening to some panel, maybe 5 movies that you really respected, what would it be?
I don't know. You take that one, Sid.
Geez, thanks.
It's a very
There's so
deep
many
question.
actors that whose work I admire that it'd be tough to single things out. The one thing that you would probably really enjoy if you did a panel with Sean Connery. Okay, Sean Connery, who was just a regular guy. I did Diamonds Are Forever with him, and he was just great to work with. A lot of fun. He was one of the guys. He hated the wig. Okay, at the end of the day, when they'd holler rap, you just grab it and rip it off his head and throw it in the air. And if there happened to be a hairdresser under it when it landed, okay, but if not, tough shit. But great guy. Omar Sharif is a great guy. You love to hear all of his stories. The guy who was actually a doctor in Egypt who became a world famous actor, a lot of really interesting stories out there that people never really hear about. Like right now, all we're talking about is House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and we ain't saying shit about Three from Hell.
Right.
But between us, we've done a hell of a lot of films. Okay. So.
Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. too. Man.
Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. was my mentor. Okay. So now you know why I'm fucked up. Great guy, very giving, very helpful, willing to pass on his family legacy to anybody who wanted to latch onto it. It was great working with him. Yeah.
Well, Sid, you've definitely been playing monsters for quite some time. That connection to one of those classic movie monsters. You recently played Jebediah Lazarus in the movie Hanukkah that was released this past winter. What can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, that I can. I didn't sign shit.
Well, it's out. It's out. So if you want to look for it, it's called Hanukkah. You should look for it. You should get it.
Yeah.
Did you get
It's
paid
good.
for that one?
Huh?
You got paid though, right?
Oh yeah, I got paid. And the check cleared the bank.
Yeah, that's good. And you didn't get hurt.
Or else the guy'd be dead.
And you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, a hell of a film. It's supposedly the first Jewish-based horror film, slasher film. And on my Instagram page, somebody said, "Well, what about the
The Golem?
no, of Christ, the
Schindler's List.
the film about Christ, where they beat the shit out of him."
Oh, The Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
well, what about the Passion of the Christ? I said, yes. Christ was a Jew, and horrible things happened to him. But it wasn't a fucking horror film.
Although, I don't know.
Yeah,
What is it that he takes a flaying and keeps on praying?
yeah, that's
I got a couple more questions over here before we travel too far into the red
Oh,
zone.
help us. Yeah.
All right, so because I don't have a death wish, I'm going to go ahead and specify of the first 2 movies, what was your guys' like? I got you.
Thank you.
I don't want to die. So, what scene was the most fun to film? Not like your favorite, but the most fun. Which scene did you guys enjoy the most?
The ones we did together or
Just both
separate?
Separate.
Well, what about the question, what is my favorite of Sid's scenes? And maybe he could, I don't know if he had a favorite of mine, but my favorite of Sid's scene was the opening of House of a Thousand Corpses. In the, the murder museum, yeah. Oh my God. That was awesome. And what was, didn't, yeah. Well, that's a whole other day.
That's a whole nother thing. I'll tell you. We were talking when we shot the special features part of that thing. We were talking about Tiny, and I said, "Yeah, much mouth motherfucker." So I think it was you that said,
He stump broke.
He stump broke.
Yeah,
right.
tiny
And
stump broke.
Yeah, tiny stump broke. And Sherry looked at me in all honesty and she said, "What's stump broke?" And I said, "Well, before you get your first piece of ass, you got to practice on something." And Tiny just couldn't give up the stump.
That's right.
And then that became the whole, you know,
Tiny
not
fucked the
who's
stump.
there.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun with that. We had some leeway on that one.
Yeah, a lot of leeway.
But I always thought stump broke was where you actually stood on a stump to
That is actually
work
what
on the cow.
Yeah, that's.
And if you back them up, they got to be
style.
stump broke, or else they start kicking, which is not good.
No.
Anyway, I'm from Illinois, so that's a whole different. We got a whole different way of doing things down
You
here.
break your stump.
Let's see if we can find a question that doesn't bring us into questionable territory.
Yeah, lift us out of the gutter, please.
How you doing there, Bill?
Hey, good. All right, hey man, how's it going?
It's good. I have a question. Will we ever see a Cornbugs World Tour?
You know,
Or any of your music on tour?
That's a good question. It's a real good question. I would have to say probably not with Cornbugs, but you never know. I haven't seen Buckethead in like almost 10 years. And I just worked with Phil Anselmo, and he's, thank you. And he's Bill and Phil, Songs of Darkness and Despair. Just what we all need, a little more darkness and despair. And I think, did I give you a copy of that?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Are you still working with War Beast on the Mr. Machine project?
Yes. We're working hard. And so, but they just lost their lead singer Bruce Corbett. Just passed away, I think last week or 10 days ago. So we're kind of on hiatus there. But we're working hard. We already got one song in the can called Meth Mouth. So, a lot of fun. Yes! So that's coming, and maybe some more Spider Mountain stuff. I wanted to do some campfire songs, so that might be coming. Yeah, exactly.
Well, along the lines of Kumbaya, actually, Bill, I wanted to take it into kind of a personal area for you. Recently, you marched with the Los Angeles Unified School District teachers in a show of, union force. As a member of SAG-AFTRA, how important is the union to you, and how important has it been throughout your luxurious career?
The only thing they're good for is making sure we get paid. Okay?
Well, if that's their only job.
Well, no, actually, their job is to
Health plan,
protect
too.
us.
Yeah.
Okay, and now their job is making money. They're costing actors all kinds of money to take classes and seminars and all kinds of bullshit. Now it's just become another money machine. Okay, when I first joined SAG, my initial dues was $100. Today it's $3,000. Okay, so it's another money machine. Corporate America, fuck you very much.
Whoa.
That's a hot take if I've heard one.
Yeah. You probably didn't expect that answer. I love the union. I think it's great. I'm getting a pension now, which is great. It's really good for getting a
The
crisis.
pension's good.
Yeah, the pension.
I'm liking the pension.
And,
but there are some people in Washington that have a problem with people getting pensions.
Well, I'm not voting for them.
Yeah, fuck them.
But I also like they have a health plan too, so that's pretty cool. And it's covered by 2 daughters and me. And I just got married a couple years ago for the first time in my life. And thank you very much. And so so it covers my wife too, so that's good.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it.
Yeah, that
By the way,
part's
we
good.
we actually took our honeymoon to Iran, or Iran as I like to call it, but everybody goes
Iran.
Iran, and we went there on a tour, and it was a lot of fun. But I got to say, when I travel internationally, and I'm coming back, and they're taking a look through my passport, they're going, "Whoa, what were you doing in Iran?" Like I'm all ISIS or something. I said, honeymoon. They go like, holy fuck, get out of here.
That was sick fuck.
Honeymoon? You're a nut.
Bill Mosely, international spy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh,
So
man.
what comes next for both of you? Bill, I know there's been a movie called 80, or a TV series announced called 86 Zombies that's coming up that you're working on. Is that?
Yeah, why not? I'll be number 87 as long as the check clears and I don't get hurt. You know. That's,
Well, what do you got
bring
come
it
up
on.
that you can tell the people
Well, you know,
about?
I was just here in Detroit a couple months ago doing a movie called Handy Dandy. And it's an evil puppet movie. I mean, some of you probably were a part of that. Thank you very much. It is an evil puppet movie, my first. I've done a lot of evil, different kinds of things, but puppets, no, never before. So that's good. And that should, I think that's coming out one of these days. I also was in Sheboygan, Michigan. Yes, doing Crepitus. That's a scary clown movie. And of course, I learned at the feet of the master here, so the big feet of the master. So that's cool. Crepitus, which apparently is the medical sound of bones cracking or something. I don't know. Crepitus. My crepitus.
I got.
Yeah. And I eat children. I mean, crepitus does.
Yeah. I got 6 films coming out. We're not going to talk about 3 from Hell. But in April, a film called High on the Hog, which is about a farmer, me, whose family's owned this farm for 5 generations. I promised my father that I would never sell out to the corporate farmers, but to kind of make ends meet, I just plant a little weed in with the corn. So that's that. And apparently now I'm the original Jewish slasher guy in Hanukkah. Yeah. And Cynthia, which Bill and I are both in, is on DVD right now. And I lost track.
Scout Taylor Compton.
Huh?
And yes, it's about a woman who tries to get pregnant and then finally does to mixed results.
Yeah, very mixed results.
And I was going to say, I think I saw a picture from that, Bill. You're a little bit of the, you're dressed as a neutral, I guess would be the word.
I am, yes, that would be the word. I play Buttercup in a blonde wig and pearls and flip-flops.
Yeah.
And I'm very good.
Alternative lifestyle.
But Sid plays a detective, and actually, didn't you win an award for Best Actor?
I won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
Award, yeah.
Who did you support?
And see how stupid I am? It was the first time I ever played a cop. When I first started off, I should have said, "Excuse me, sir, I'll play the cop." You know, but no. I had to wait for 57 fucking years to play a cop and win an award.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there? I knew I had more questions out there.
I just wanted to ask, separately between you two, what's your favorite kills with House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects combined? I mean, I guess you could say minus Fish Boy. And I don't know. You could include Fish Boy, but what's your favorite? We didn't see Fish Boy get.
For
fished.
me, it wasn't one that it wasn't a scene that I was involved in.
You didn't kill a lot of people.
But when Kate Norby got smashed all over the fucking street
With the truck?
with the truck, she's in the street, so okay, car's going to hit her. Car comes by, doesn't hit her, and you go, wow, boom. 18
Otis set that one up though.
Yeah, spread her shit all over the road.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I have a question about the newest movie. Oh, not the newest movie? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and ask it. That'll be fun for us just
You
to
can
turn you
ask
down.
it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was or anything.
Just to say
but
one more time.
I was just curious because there ain't that much scenes with your character, Captain Spaulding. All I want to know is we're going to get more scenes with him in a new movie? Like a lot more scenes compared to the other two?
We can't tell you anything. But thank you for asking.
How about this?
Trying.
To spin that question, who got more jealous over screen time during the course of the 3 films?
You don't get
We
jealous
can't
over
tell
screen
you
time.
anything.
Any questions that ain't gonna get me yelled at? I know I saw some hands. Anybody?
Dr. Satan still alive?
We can't tell
It's gonna turn out bad if you
He's
keep
got
asking the
one
wrong
more.
questions.
You guys worked with, Rainn Wilson
Yeah.
and I can't
Chris
remember-
Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick, thank
Yeah.
you. Two comedians, two relative, very famous comedians.
Yeah, now they're.
Was it weird working with comedians during such a serious horror movie? Was it strange? Were they funny on set? Did they ad lib? Was there anything funny, silly behind the scenes?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. No, I didn't even know they were comedians.
I didn't even know. I don't think either of us even knew them before they showed up on the set.
You never did a scene with them, did you?
Yeah, the dinner table scene when Otis,
Oh, yes,
Otis
yes,
introduction,
yes,
and then
yes.
of course poor Chris Hardwick. I did scalp him a little bit and throw knives at him and fuck him up.
Shit happens.
Exactly. What can you do? And then of course we did bury him, and well, I don't want to do spoilers, but
Well, at this point, the duo
he wasn't laughing then. Let me tell you.
the duo of you have become quite legendary as horror characters. You've done so many other films. Who were some of your other favorite co-stars that weren't part of the Firefly trilogy?
Clint
You've
Eastwood.
worked with damn near everybody.
Sean Connery, Omar Sharif,
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. I
I think I saw that one.
I helped Edison invent the fucking camera.
Yeah, just amazing.
That's how long I've been
We go
doing
back.
this. One of the most giving and beautiful women in the world is Carol Burnett. I did a film with her called Choo Choo and the Philly Flash.
Whoa.
My first day, we were working on the pier, and it was her day off. And she came down to the set on her day off to introduce herself to me and spent the day with me, okay? And like 6 months later, I was at Warner Brothers coming back from lunch, and I hear my name. I turn around, and it was her, and she ran out and threw her arms around me and said, please, I'm working on stage, whatever, come by and talk. So, she's just one of those really gracious, beautiful women. Yeah.
Any other
And I
questions?
did work with Clint Eastwood on Pink Cadillac, but he wasn't really that interested in getting to know me up close and personal. So, I don't know. I admired him from afar, though.
This question's for Bill.
Uh-oh.
Recently, you did work on Aluzule Lu's The Almighty album for their intro.
Yeah.
I just want to know what you think of their aesthetic and just their whole gimmick as far as horror rap and how they relate to the horror.
Totally down with it, man. A lot of fun. I think they're very cool. I certainly enjoy doing that. I've done that a bunch of times. I've worked with Twisted. I worked with those guys. I've worked with Child Bite. I mean, another. Yeah, right. So I just enjoy that. I mean, what I like is how, there's certainly on some edges, horror films and music and, just those, the aesthetic seems to be kind of spread out so that we're all kind of, scratching each other's back. I love it, actually. Yeah.
It definitely seems like horror and rap has been at least symbiotic in some ways,
Yeah.
especially around these parts.
I remember taking my older daughter when she was 12 or 13 to the pond of Anaheim in California to see, what was it? God, I forgot the name of the tour, but it was Eminem, it was Limp Bizkit, and they were all it was kind of a horror themed show. It's I forgot the name of what the tour was called, but even back then.
Anger Management, I believe.
Anger Management, right? Limp Bizkit. I mean, does that date me or what?
We were at the
Something about, is it the Nookie? Yeah,
the second annual Spike Awards, and the Spike Awards at the end of the show always give an award to a musical individual, okay, like a Lifetime Achievement Award. And that year, the Lifetime Achievement Award was given to Alice Cooper.
Yo.
Okay, and in front of 3,000 people, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, with Slash on guitar, played School's Out for Summer. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It was great.
And actually, we just saw we got passes, free passes. to the Rob Zombie Marilyn Manson tour last summer, the Twins of Evil, which was fucking awesome. I know. I think I came up here. I don't know about how. I know that Rob kicked it, but Rob, I was really amazed because Rob. He's not 20 anymore, and man, he was like jumping all over the stage. I couldn't believe how energetic that guy is. And by the way, he's a great guy.
The first tour that he did, the first show that he did in LA in 7 years, we were there that night.
Right.
It was amazing. He did Rob Zombie, he did White Zombie, he did old stuff, new stuff, all kinds of shit. And at one point, he jumped down into the mosh pit.
Yo.
And the next day, I called him and I said, "What the fuck were you thinking?" And he said, as soon as my feet hit the floor, I said, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
Were you guys surprised? I'm sure you were pleased that he was able to incorporate the upcoming 3 from Hell release into the show itself and into the merchandising. Did that surprise you when he debuted that trailer in front of those live crowds the way he did, as opposed to taking a typical route?
It didn't surprise me just because he's a master market guy, as well as he's a great promoter. So that made complete sense to me. It was exciting actually. It was like whoa, because we were like in the wings, and there's the crowd and there's the screen, and it's like holy fuck, and then there was there was certainly Sid, but there was a picture of me too. And everybody started applauding. I was like, yeah, fuck, yeah. And then of course they showed Sid again, and it was louder applause. But that's okay.
After all these years, does it surprise you that it's still such a hot button, such a sought after property? Even when there's literally no information?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Like,
does it surprise you?
The Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell and all that stuff is still popular?
That not only is it popular, but people are demanding a continuation to a storyline that we thought was finished.
I think they look at some of these other franchises that are in their 12th or 13, episode 13 of like Star Wars or whatever. They're saying, well, fuck, man. What about about Otis and Captain Spaulding? Shit.
But at one point, there was the discussion about doing you guys got to do part 2 of Rejects, and it was like everybody was saying, you know what, I can't feature myself doing Devil's Rejects 9, okay, because it never gets better. The only thing that got better was Bob's Halloween.
Yeah.
Because you got the backstory. Now we know why Michael Myers is fucked up. Okay, because he was abused as a kid, taking it out against the world. Okay, boom, bang, done. But episode 19, episode 25. Come on, we got more to see. I backed away from the business for 4 years because I was getting tired of just standing there pointing a gun in somebody's face. And I said, you know what? If Hollywood can't figure out that I can do more than just point a gun in somebody's face, then fuck it, I'm out. And 4 years later, I got a call from Rob Zombie. Okay, and that just changed everything. So I really owe a lot to him for having the synapses coming together and figuring out I could do something. And this is a perfect example of being careful of what you do today and paying attention to what you do today, because it's going to affect your life in years to come. I was talking with his brother at their wedding reception, and he said, "This is so weird." I said, "What, the wedding?" He said, "No, standing here." He said, "Standing here talking to you." I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He said, "When Rob and I were kids, we used to get up every Saturday morning and watch you on Jason of Star Command, and you scared the shit out of us." And I kept popping up in films that Rob liked, okay?
Right.
And he said, "If I ever get to direct a movie, I want that guy in it." That's paying attention to what you're doing today, because tomorrow it's going to affect your life. So that's my preaching for the
Benediction.
day. Yes, it's my benediction.
I think I got time for one or two more questions before we have to send these guys back to their table. Any questions?
I just wanted to know if you ever stayed in costume to go home and scare your family.
What was that? Put on the costume.
Stay in costume and go home and scare your family.
No, but
My
I will
family
tell
doesn't
you
scare you,
one
just
really
like this.
weird thing, okay? This is how crazy I am. My kid wanted to be an Indian Guides. Everybody know what Indian Guides is? That YMCA program where they start when they're like 7 years old. And so I was forced to go to the meeting, the introduction meeting to this thing. There's guys walking around with feathers in their head and stuff. Fuck, I can't see this. But my son wanted to do it, so okay, fine, I'm in. 2 years later, I was the head of the Topanga Nation and had a headdress that was 6 feet long. And we came back from summer camp, and I snuck in, and I put the headdress on and took my clothes off and jumped on the top of my wife's bed. And scared the shit out of me.
Well, before we wrap things up, guys, where can the fans contact you about what you can talk about? Where can they hit you up on Instagrams and other social medias?
For me, Instagram at Sid Haig Says.
Oh, and me is it's Instagram, it's Twitter. I think it's also Facebook. It's at Chop Top Mosely.
As well as Chop Tops Barbecue.
ChopTopsBarbecue.com. Yes, that's where if you need some ribs. Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the crowd here and the entire crowd at Astronomicon, we hope we see you up here again for Astronomicon 3. Then maybe we can get some of those 3 from Hell answers that we all wanted today.
Come back next year.
I thank you both for joining us. Make some noise for Holy Stripwood and Captain Spaulding, Sid Haig and Bill Mosely. Make sure you're visiting them in the celebrity area. They will be there the rest of the weekend, signing autographs, pressing the flesh, and taking pictures. Bring money. Mic drop.